A few nobles from Solitude were out hunting. One of the men was gravely injured. That's up for debate. But if it proves my father had a respect, show him the call. But that isn't good enough in a trial. A respect, show him the... But that isn't good enough in a trial. So I had to send word to Hammerfell Power Sign.
Yeah? Well. Look what we got here, Francis. A customer. Too bad we aren't open yet. My horse, you dumb toady. Francis is my horse's name. Says so right on her soul, which is inside of her hide, where only I can touch it.
Okay.
Some of them mages, though, they got special gloves. Lets them touch things that aren't there. Some can even cast spells that rip a soul right off their skeleton. Ever seen a mage turn someone purple? That's soul ripping. I don't like your tone, stranger. I know you're kind, tossing cheap flattery around in order to sate the commands of your loins. But if you think you can march into this town and ride away on my Francis, you've got another thing coming. Ah, now that is a tale that rivals any love story the bard's ever told. It was when I was still young, barely a man, living in Riften. One of the local lords offered to take me and 2 others hunting. The problem was that I had never ridden a horse. In fact, I was quite impaired by the way the lord's horse bucked me. After 4 tries, I ran into the forest to wipe the sweat out of my eyes. I came to a grove and couldn't believe what I saw. A wild mare, locked in battle with its bull, fighting to defend its young. That's when I saw Francis for the first time. She was lying in a pool of clear slime, no older than a day. Then our eyes met, and she spoke to me. She said, "Wee!" or something like that. I took it to mean she wanted this brigand dead. So I took my bow and shot the tree walker. I shot her too. Things we do for love.
There's no follow-up to that.
Oh yes. It'll take some time to build it. Maybe have to tear down that inn or the Jarl's home first to make room. But a city isn't a city without a stable. It's just some backwoods hamlet like Riverwood or Rorikstead. You want prestige? You need horses. A good Jarl thinks only of his people. Sometimes that means lowering taxes. Most times it means raising them. Specifically, raising money for a lengthy construction project. Although he won't have to raise taxes too high. Not if we take advantage of a cheap source of labor. Now you're thinking on my level. The way I see it, those robe-wearing Daedra worshippers aren't like us normal folk. They've got these powers of restoration which lets them work all day without ever getting tired. Some of them don't even do that. They just fool themselves into thinking they're well rested, so they can keep raping souls and raising the dead. Well, either way it makes no difference to me and Francis how they do it. Just that they do, and do it for free.
Right.
Well, the main problem is they got them fancy seals on the entrance. The walkway is narrow too, but we can use that to our advantage. Just send some beast gone berserk down that aisle, And anyone who gets in its way is taking a carriage ride straight to Pilgrim's Trench. They got them some calming spells though, but that only works on the mind. It doesn't touch the tongue. That's why my plan is to feed this monster some spicy food, like one of them peppers that they sell at the markets in Hammerfell. We got some troll's mouth, hotter than the Red Mountain, and then point it right at those mages. They won't know what hit them, but they'll know when they wake up with chains around their ankles. Oh, it's a plan alright. Francis is the one who came up with it. The idea, anyway. I helped smooth out the rough edges. She's got a cunning mind, that one. Sometimes you stare at her and you don't see anything. Just some damn beast with more teeth than brains. But every so often she'll say something, and it'll just open up your mind and fill it with taffy. Mind taffy, I like to call it. Very soon. They say good, fast, and cheap. Pick two. Something can be good and cheap, but it won't come fast. Something could be fast and good, but it won't come cheap. And something could be fast and cheap, but it won't be good. Well, I say to oblivion with that. My horses are going to be the fastest, cheapest thing on the market. And that sounds pretty good to me. Some say it's a great wonder. A great wonder how a bunch of corpse coddlers managed to hide a gate to oblivion right in Skyrim. It was Francis, though, who first pointed out to me that all these mages like to wear hoods. What do they have to hide? She asked me. What, indeed? A thief wears a hood to mask his face from the guard. A mage wears the hood to hide the fact that he's a Daedric lord. Of course, I've never been against a person's right to do what he wants in his own home. But if they have Daedric slaves working for them, then we ought to tax them or make them pay insurance in case things go wrong. And if they bring them outside, then we ought to hang every one of them. The Daedra, that is. The mages will give collars and make them our pets.
Okay.
Stay away from my Francis.
Must be elsewhere. Yeah, it's also. I'm gonna go there eventually. Oh dear me. Oh. in his own way. Dear. Destroyed. In solitude. Oh wait, I'm trying to... There it is.
Good, you came. There's a lot going on here, but we need to find things that corroborate with my father's version of what happened. Not many people can find the place, to be honest, since it's not on any map. The only reason guards were able to arrest my father is because he was forced to spend the night in solitude. During the fight, the candle horn got knocked over. By the time the snow came, half the place was burned down, along with much of the evidence. That's partly why you're here. I need an objective witness with no stake in either side. Of course. My father said he was cooking dinner when he heard a commotion outside. The trespassers must have shot down the deer. Smelling my father's dinner, they offered to share the venison in exchange for a drink and a warm fire. On this much, both sides agree. But out here you can never be too careful. My father demanded the strangers to leave the property and take the deer with them. The strangers were insulted. In hindsight, my father should have shown more tact. Nobody likes to be called a thief. Eventually, things got heated and shots were fired. These arrows are proof of that. My father ran inside and got his axe. There was a fight near the hearth when one of them knocked over a candle horn. When the fire started, everyone, including my father, fled. Given how detailed my father was, I wouldn't be surprised if your findings match his story. My father never liked hunting. Not at first, anyway. But he learned to love it, because he knew how much it meant to me. Part of me thinks this is all my fault. But I wanted to stay in the city. He wouldn't be in this situation. But then I think back to all those times we spent together, and how much it meant to him, and I don't have the heart to take them away. Have you ever lost anyone close to you, friend? You're right. There's still time. I'm taking the lease agreement to Solitude to have it verified. Meet me at the Blue Palace. With your help, we'll prove my father's innocence.
Jarls come and Jarls go, but a good cook stays for a lifetime. And I'm a very, very good cook.
Praise the divines you're here. Come on, let me introduce you.
Many more than we already have. Further delay will not change the facts at hand.
My Jarl, if I may, the witness I spoke of earlier has arrived. Given he's examined the scene of the altercation, I'd like to have him cross-examine Formir's testimony.
Are you sure this witness of yours can be objective?
I had the captain of the guard vet him, just as he did with your apothecary.
Huh. We shall see.
Formir, there's still time to end this.
Yes?
The lease agreement proves you are trespassing. I think it's clear to both you and the court that
That he cannot be held accountable for your injuries.
My Jarl, it is very noble of this man to defend his father's honor, and for that, he should be commended. Unfortunately, his contention that we trespassed on his father's property is simply not true. It is not trespassing if the man invites you into his home.
You mentioned something that would convince us. Please proceed.
Thank you, my Jarl. You see, my housecarl and I were hunting a deer when one of our stray shots happened to hit this man's cottage. An unfortunate accident, but nothing particularly damaging to the woodwork. Oh, is that so? Then clearly you haven't spoken to Asgeld's father, because he himself admits we killed the deer. Now, if you'll allow me to continue...
I've got an idea. No mistakes.
Praise the divines you are here. Come on, let me introduce you.
Jarl's time any more than we already have. Further delay will not change the facts at hand.
My Jarl, if I may, the witness I spoke of earlier has arrived. Given he's examined the scene of the altercation, I'd like to have him cross-examine Formir's testimony.
Are you sure this witness of yours can be objective?
I had the captain of the guard vet him, just as he did with your apothecary.
Huh. We shall see.
Formir, there's still time to end this folly. The lease agreement proves you are trespassing. I think it's clear to both you and the court that he cannot be held accountable for your injuries.
My Jarl, it is very noble of this man to defend his father's honor, and for that, he should be commended. Unfortunately, his contention that we trespassed on his father's property is simply not true. It is not trespassing if the man invites you into his home.
You mentioned something that would convince us. Please proceed.
Thank you, my Jarl. You see, my housecarl and I were hunting a deer when one of our stray shots happened to hit this man's cottage. An unfortunate accident, but nothing particularly damaging to the woodwork. Well, that's because some of the arrows belong to my companion.
Got it.
I said I shot one arrow into the cottage by accident. I made no mention of him. Now, if you'll allow me to continue. My Jarl, after the arrow hit the cottage, this man's father came bursting through the door. We apologized for the disturbance. To make amends, we offered to share the venison with him. He agreed and beckoned we come inside. Naturally, we were pleased to get out of the cold. My companion took to skinning the deer, while I perused a nearby bookshelf. I remember this part clearly because I was pleased to find my favorite series, The Wolf Queen, on the top shelf. In fact, I had just opened the book to the first page when I heard my companion scream.
He serves in my capital city.
I'm afraid you can. This authority comes from the Emperor, who you also serve.
He uses all of Hafengar's resources and doesn't answer to me in the slightest. This hardly seems fair.
Fair is a word rarely applied to politics, ladies. I'm afraid you must learn to accept this.
You don't know that. You weren't even there. Besides, maybe he simply forgot to put the... All I know is... Thank you, my Jarl. You see, my housecarl and I were hunting a deer when one of our stray shots happened to hit this man's cottage.
I'm gonna have another look at it.
An unfortunate accident, but nothing particular.
So, there's a bow in the bedroom. Bucket, room. There's blood by the fire. Top shelf. Ascent. Doing a law. Cats of Skyrim. Frontier Conquest. C D E F G H. Okay, it's on the bottom shelf. Volume 2. There's Iron Axe. Lots of arrows. Iron arrow. So the arrows is on this deer, the same arrows from the house. Ghost cheese. Pine cheese. Goat cheese. Lots of cheese. Some bread. Salmon steak. So there's the likely over here. Oops. So there's salmon, bread, cheese, queen, bottom shelf. Only arrows, iron axe, iron war axe. Wooden plates. 10 cards. In fact, there's ale. village red wine. There's one tank card, 2 tankards. Two wooden plates, so there's only 2 people. Yeah. 1 hunting bow. Only 2 people eating.
Greetings. As a court attendant, I mostly deal with acquiring clothes, silverware, and other accessories from merchants both local and overseas. The Blue Palace cannot have its residents dressed like common rubes. And by rubes, I mean the lesser nobles that inhabit the other holds. Unfortunately, much of the clothing I had recently shipped in by the East Empire Company was deemed too impractical given Skyrim's frigid weather. Nothing like these peasant bodices the Nords wear. They were garments truly fit for the divine race. You should have seen the quality of lace I had brought in from the Somerset Isle. Silks and linens embroidered with silver and gold. It's rather difficult to feel like oneself, let alone a divine, wearing these thick coats and furs. I suppose I will have to make my face all the more stunning to compensate. Indeed, they asked me what I saw, and I told them what I heard. Ulfric Stormcloak shouting King Torrig to pieces. And I do mean that literally. From what I understand, there were chunks of the High King all over the walls of the throne. General Tullius, meanwhile, was screaming at Aldis for letting Ulfric escape. Naturally, Aldis made Rogvir a scapegoat for his own ineptitude. Which is laughable. Rogvir couldn't even find his own bottom, let alone an escape route past the castle guard. According to my sources, the only person to leave the castle was an Argonian male who took the carriage by the stables later that night. Alone, this would mean little, but consider this. When Ulfric shouted Torrig to death, some claim his skin burst open to reveal a pattern of scales. Not the scales of an Argonian, but that of a dragon. Didn't he? If my voice paralyzes you, and I use that opportunity to cut you into bites of flesh, is that not the same thing? Besides, if the townsfolk aren't capable of deciphering a simple metaphor, then that is no one's fault but their own. Well, it was rather tragic what Ulfric did to Torrig, but not nearly as tragic as the prehistoric cave garments with which he dresses his generals. The uniforms of his lower-ranked soldiers are bad enough, given their redundancy. But I mean really, a bear's head? I know third-era fashion is all the rage these days, but I think you have to go back a couple of millennia to find a time when animal heads were stylish. If Elisif mourned anything, it was the death of good taste under Stormcloak rule. But I suspect her husband was important too. Well, I can't say all this melancholy has been good for her complexion, but she's still quite fetching. You may not be aware of this, but it requires a great deal of work to live up to the moniker Elisif the Fair. The last thing a lady wants is to have that name said in jest. For one, I'm an excellent listener. People are willing to divulge things to me without even taking into account whether I can provide sage advice. Second, I'm delightful to speak with. Not only do I have interesting rumors to share, but I can relate them in ways that spark your imagination. For instance, if I were to tell you Elisif trusts Falk Firebeard with everything, you would likely nod your head and praise the steward. Then we'd begin to dwell on the awkward silence that followed, and proceed to start hating each other and ourselves for not being more interesting. Now, if I were to tell you that Jarl Elisib trusts Folk Firebeard with everything, and perhaps curl my lips into a smile, I imagine you would have little difficulty formulating a reply.
Okay.
I'm not a gossiper, just gregarious. I don't embellish. It's just the facts don't convey the spirit of what really happens. I'm not high maintenance, just high-minded. When I petition for funding for a party or festival, or new robes for the Thanes, I do so with purpose. Nobles cannot simply skulk around like common thieves. We must present ourselves in a fashion befitting our rank. Only because there's a misconception that gossip is harmful. Although, granted, what I do isn't exactly for anyone's benefit but my own. Yet can you imagine how droll conversation would be without speculation? It would lose all its luster, its mystery and imagination. If I told you that Rogvir sabotaged Sorex's chances with Vivienne, you might be interested. But what if I told you Rogvir had a taste for men? Why, the story would have an entirely new twist, would it not? Such a scandal. Well, let's just say Thane Ericur prefers to do his shopping in the dungeon rather than the marketplace. On some days, he'll even emerge with a sack that rattles so violently it betrays its contents as he walks. Although I think, and you didn't hear this from me, that Ericur isn't the one doling out the punishment. He strikes me as someone who likes to be bent over a chair with a gag in his mouth. His sister, on the other hand, is another story. No, I wasn't implying they perform these acts together. Although now that I think about it, how salacious. You, stranger, have a good eye. I wonder, is that from experience? When it comes to deviance, they do say it takes one to know one. What manner of skeleton do you keep in your closet? I promise it will be our little secret. Then you're better off meeting one of the food vendors in Eastmarch. The selection of cuisine there is completely laughable. All right then. Heard any juicy gossip lately? Tell me all about it, and... Octiev-san saw the face of one of the 8 at the Skiver again. Today it was the face of Julianos in his suit. Yesterday it was Tubella's figure on a towel stain. The day before that, he saw Stendar's visage on a piece of mouldy bread. Roland refuses to dignify Oktiev's claims with a response, as he believes they're part of a scheme to pay off his gambling debts. But Silana is such a trusting young woman. She doesn't see that her pity only serves to reinforce his behavior. One of these days, Oktiev is going to ask Silana to inspect the stain of Akatosh on his undergarments, and maybe then she'll draw a line. That still implies that gossip itself is a negative, akin to a paper cut or a particularly vexing housefly. However, I believe it ties the community together. The more we know about each other, the more intimate our relationships.
No.
Gossip is inclusive. It allows outsiders such as yourself to easily join the conversation. Spend an hour with me, and you'll know everything about everyone, and truly feel like one of the locals. I don't embellish, I extrapolate. But even if I did, it would only be distasteful if these embellishments were heard by the parties in question. If I told you a passing rumour that Inga Sixfingers had 12 toes, who would dare be tactless enough to broach the subject with Inga directly? And I would be quick to comfort Inga as we excoriated said person for being such a brute.
All right then.
Praise the divines you're here. Come on, let me introduce
The
you.
Jarl's time any more than we already have. Further delay will not change the facts at hand.
Mayor, if I may, the witness I spoke of earlier has arrived. Given he's examined the scene of the altercation, I'd like to have him cross-examine Formir's testimony.
Are you sure this witness of yours can be objective?
I had the captain of the guard vet him. Just as he did with your apothecary.
Huh. We shall see.
Formir, there's still time to end this folly. The lease agreement proves you are trespassing. I think it's clear to both you and the court that he cannot be held accountable for your injuries.
My Jarl, it is very noble of this man to defend his father's honor, and for that, he should be commended. Unfortunately, his contention that we trespassed on his father's property is simply not true. It is not trespassing if the man invites you into his home.
You mentioned something that would convince us. Please proceed.
Thank you, my Jarl. You see, my housecarl and I were hunting a deer when one of our stray shots happened to hit this man's cottage. An unfortunate accident, but nothing particularly damaging to the woodwork. Well, that's because some of the arrows belonged to my companion. I said I shot one arrow into the cottage by accident. I made no mention of him. Now,
Got that one right. Sure of
if you'll allow me to continue, my Jarl. After the arrow hit the cottage, this man's father came bursting through the door. We apologized for the disturbance. To make amends, we offered to share the venison. He agreed and beckoned we come inside. Naturally, we were pleased to get out of the cold. My companion took to skinning the deer, while I perused a nearby bookshelf. I remember this part
deer
clearly
wasn't skinned.
because I was pleased to find my favorite series, The Wolf Queen, on the top shelf. In fact, I had just opened the book to the first page when I heard my companion scream.
An easy target for a Stormcloak assassin. You're safer here in the palace.
Oh, very well. I can see there's no change in your stubborn Nord mind. But when this war is won, I will have my parade.
Yes, Mayor.
If that's the case, then how did he... So either he's a liar, or the...
That wasn't the right one. I'll work it out.
Now, if you'll allow me to continue, my Jarl. After the arrow hit the cottage, this man's father came bursting through the door. We apologized for the disturbance. To make amends, we offered to share the venison with him. He agreed, and beckoned we come inside. Naturally, we were pleased to get out of the cold. My companion took to skinning the deer, while I perused a nearby bookshelf. I remembered this part clearly because I was pleased to find my favorite series, The Wolf Queen, on the top shelf. In fact, I had just opened the book to the first page when I heard my companion scream.
Target for a Stormcloak assassin. You're safer here in the palace.
Oh, very well. I can see there's no change in your stubborn Lord minds. But when this war is won, I will have my parade.
Asking that is like asking why bandits attack caravans. It's so obvious. I won't waste the court's time explaining it. In any case, as I was saying, I heard my companion scream behind me. I turned around, only to see your father had struck him with his axe.
Liar!
Calm yourself. I let him tell his version. Please allow me the same courtesy.
Fine.
When I saw my injured companion, I acted on reflex. I wrestled the assailant to the ground and told my friend to flee. At that point, I was certain I was going to die. I was fumbling
You've done us
about
a great
trying to find a
service.
weapon or perhaps a miracle. My hands found a candle horn. I threw it at my attacker and missed wildly, but when it struck the wood, the cabin lit up like a bonfire. The fire is what allowed me to escape. And with that, I conclude my testimony. It is my belief that this man's father attacked us without provocation. What I ask for is not vengeance, my Jarl, but for justice. But whatever you decide, I will humbly accept your judgment.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure who won that battle. He made some good points, but he was able to squirm away unscathed. Still, I think it was enough for Elisif to rule in our favor. Let's just hope Boromir doesn't have any surprises up his sleeve.
There are some issues.
Now what?
If it pleases the court, I would like to introduce some new evidence regarding our witness's character, which I have just obtained via courier.
Very well.
Thank you, my Jarl. I do not wish to alarm anyone here, but I believe this information may very well compromise the integrity of our chief witness.
You what?
What are you up to, Boromir? Explain yourself.
It is not I who has to explain myself. After all, you are the one who attested to the impartiality of this witness. A witness who happens to be a well-known associate of the forger Rumari. Clearly both his testimony and the lease brought by Asgield cannot be admitted.
What?
By the gods, I don't even know what to say.
What? Is this true? Why didn't you tell me sooner? Yes, but rumors have a way of influencing.
I think I made a mistake. I think I need to go back.
Now, if you'll allow me to continue, my
The
Jarl.
morale of our people
After
in
the
this
arrow hit the
difficult
cottage,
time.
this man's father
I
came
think we should
bursting
have a
through the door.
grand and
We
let
apologized for the disturbance. To make amends, we offered to share the venison with him.
Over.
He agreed, and beckoned we come inside. Naturally, we were my companion took to skinning the deer, while I perused a nearby bookshelf. I remember this part clearly because I was pleased to find my favorite series, The Wolf Queen, on the top shelf. In fact, I had just opened the book to the first page when I heard my companion scream.
Easy target for a Stormcloak assassin. You're safer here in the palace.
Wait for it
Oh,
to
very
finish
well.
out the
I
conversation.
can see there's no changing your stubborn Nord mind. But when this war is won, I will have my parade.
Yes, my Jarl.
You don't know that. You weren't even there. Besides, maybe he simply forgot to put the book back on the shelf. All I know is, that's how it happened. I would not lie in front of the Jarl. In any case, as I was saying, I heard my companion scream behind me. I turned around, only to see your father had struck him with his axe.
Liar!
Calm yourself. I let him tell his version. Please allow me the same courtesy.
Fine.
When I saw my injured companion, I acted on reflex. I wrestled the assailant to the ground and told my friend to flee. At that point, I was certain I was going to die. I was fumbling about, trying to find a weapon or perhaps a miracle. My hands found a candle wood. I threw it at my attacker and missed wildly, but when it struck the wood, the cabin lit up like a bonfire. And the fire is what allowed me to escape. And with that, I conclude my testimony. It is my belief that this man's father attacked us without provocation. What I ask for is not vengeance, my Jarl, but for justice. But whatever you decide, I will humbly accept your judgment.
Thank you.
That was amazing. You buried him with his own lies. It was fun watching him try and dig his way out. Barring any surprises, I'm sure Elisif will rule in our favor. Now what?
If it pleases the court, I would like to introduce some new evidence regarding our witness's character, which I have just obtained via courier.
Very well.
Thank you,
Like
Leo.
the ancient legends.
I do not wish to alarm anyone here, but I believe this information may very well compromise the integrity of our chief witness.
What are you up to, Formir? Explain yourself.
It is not I who has to explain myself. After all, you are the one who attested to the impartiality of this witness. A witness who happens to be a well-known associate of the forger Rumari. Clearly both his testimony and the lease brought by Asgeld cannot be admitted.
Oh, come on now, Formir. Now you're just grasping at straws. You've clearly lost. Be thankful you and your companion escaped with your lives.
Curse you! I will do no such thing. My honor demands justice. I request a trial by combat.
Now why would I do that? I'm not going to risk my father's life when the Jarl is minutes away from granting him a pardon.
Huh. I thought for sure you would take that bait. But I won't stand here and give you the satisfaction of winning this trial. I'm dropping the charges.
Your what? But why? What's your game?
Simple. If I allow Elisif to rule in your favor, that means I'll have to defy her will to get my way.
You're a stubborn fool, Formir. But fine. I'd rather not leave it up to the Jarl either.
Then we're agreed. I apologize for wasting the court's time. We will handle this matter internally.
Good. You're dismissed.
Why, Julianus, you did it. You saved my father's life. Yes, and the fact that the Jarl never made a decree means that there will be no record of this trial. Still, it will be a while before it's forgotten, and time will only weaken his case. We celebrate! I'm sure the first night outside of the dungeon, even the tavern will feel like Sovngarde itself. As for you, here, it's a piece of armor that saved my own life more times than I care to count. It may not be better than what you have, but it's important to me that you have it. Now, I'm off to meet my father. I didn't have anything specific planned, but I'll just order a pint of mead and let it take care of the rest.
Impartial witness. I'd sooner have Galna Stonefist serve
It's a
as the
fine
key
day to
witness
stew
to
around.
trial.
If you have business, please see Falk Firebeard.
I will
my
need the
steward.
following reagents for my studies.
I have nothing
Please
to say
welcome.
to you.
Pray for solitude
Miss
and my
Stentor.
husband.
These are quite expensive. I trust you know how limited the Hold's funds are at this time.
Yes, and I'm also aware of how necessary my divinations and wards are. The city's defense. My experiments are all I ask for in return.
Very well, but I suspect Her Grace will not be pleased.
And I've seen Jarls come and go. This one only became Jarl because her husband died. She'll be replaced in a matter of months.
Miss Stentor, watch your tongue in the Jarl's court.
On threat of what exactly? This city wouldn't run without me. Now if you'll excuse me, my work awaits.
Good job out there.
It's... be quick. I have little... You've already learned all I can teach you. Take care of yourself.
Do you have
Always
business
remember,
with the court?
the world is ripe with people looking to spill your
That's
blood.
the real question, isn't it? No one can deny. But we must have the support of the... Should they accept her rule, we will have peace.
It is finally time to go to Solside.
Won't forget what you've done for Solitude.
Dragonborn, what do you need? Yes.
Another day, another septim. By the... No, I'm not. I feel like my scales are clawing into me. Maybe you could help an old Argonian out?
Old Argonian.
I heard some of the sailors talking about how they stashed a bottle of double-distilled skooma in the Nissus Corner Club. I just need a taste. pissed spit on you.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here. I've got a letter and a lot of gold. Something about it being your, inheritance. Oh, and sorry for your loss. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Everything's in order.
What? Yvette? Did she die? I have to go back.
So,
That's the curio, isn't it?
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here. I've got a letter and a lot of gold. Something. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Thank you again for helping secure my dad's freedom.
I do for you?
Scripted deaths. Vampires.
I hope you're finding the city in proper order.
No, I'm not.
Yes? Everything's in
No,
order.
no, it's not in order. Your citizens
Dragon
have
Ball.
been killed. One of your citizens has been killed. It's unacceptable. It's meant to be a safe city. What kind of nonsense is that, you know? Plus, I thought, right, I thought that I had discovered the docks, and the docks are marked on my map. Apparently not. Window docks. What is that?
Windhelm has been hard on my people, but our fortunes will turn, and we have shelter and food. We have not fared well outside our native Black Marsh, but we're determined to make the best of things. I began praying to Zenithar, the god of wealth, to bring us some fortune, but thieves made off with my sacred amulet almost as soon as I bought it. Shavi would be in your debt, kind one. Oh yes, after all, what's the point in being miserable all the time? I know life on the docks isn't easy. Sometimes life puts you in difficult circumstances you didn't choose. But being happy or unhappy is a choice you make, and I've chosen to make the best of things that I can. Enjoyed our talk.
No more! I yield! I yield!
Can't wait to count out your...
Need something?
Mind yourself.
We're used to getting by on scraps, but the Shatter Shields want everything for nothing. I came here as a hatchling. The only thing colder than Skyrim is the Nords themselves, but we stick together. We work where we can get work. The Nords don't like unloading their ships, so we do it instead. Sometimes cargo goes missing. You have no idea. Did you know it was his decree that forbade the Argonians from living inside the city walls? I hope in his next life he's reborn as an Argonian forced to live in a slum because of some bigoted Nord dictator. I'm joking, of course, but I'm a lot happier seeing the Empire running things in Windhelm. You'll be able to run circles around those big, slow brutes in heavy armor. Torbjorn Shattershield. I wish someone would beat the coin out of his fat fists. He clings to every septum. He says an Argonian's labor is only worth a tenth of a proper Nord worker. My people are not slaves. You can try, but we've gotten nowhere talking to him ourselves. Safe travels, Landstrider. You look... my compliments. Hello, friend.
Never much cared for Windhelm. The place is depressing.
How do you do?
Skyrim isn't very friendly for our... Bless you, friend. You've renewed my hope. Before I came into Zenithar's calling, I confess I was a thief. But I learned a few things in my time that might help you survive. Let me show you. I enjoyed our talk.
Dragonborn, what do you need? Good to see you. You've done well.
How do you do, Thane?
Another day, another septum. I can hardly believe it. Our little girl died recently. I've been shouldering my days with strong mead, but nothing gives my Tova peace. I've been looking for an amulet of RK to remind my wife that our child is with the gods now, but I can't find one. Thank you. I hope RK grants my wife some comfort. Thank you. Here, I always pay my debts. There's nothing more I can teach you. Well, my friend, if you think those boots need more coin, I'll make it happen. But I'm doing this for you, not them.
I'll be right here then.
Not really sure what to do with myself anymore. I just miss her so much.
I was one of the best soldiers in the Stormcloak army. I took a forward to the chest.
Is there peace to these departed souls? My job's simple enough, but they don't really complain.
Yes? You talked Torbjorn down? I'm impressed. Here I was saving this for a rainy day. Maybe now I can afford a few more for my people. Take it.
Thank you, Landstrider.
Sorry, but I'm not looking to hire any more crew right now. You don't know what freedom really means until you've lived on the river. The North Wind is my mistress, and I'm her master. I don't tolerate any disloyalty. You looking for work? Got a sailor who thought running a gang of thieves would be more money than hauling my cargo. You make an example of that gang, I'll give you a year's worth of pay. That's the spirit. Right. See you round.
Once was a woman who was fair as moon, a springtime in old Rosmatai.
Bet they got that secret magic. Contain wood to gold. Yeah. Wish I could turn wood to gold.
Need something?
I love a good fight.
You don't know what freedom really means. Fine work. Here's your pay. Don't spend it all on me. Right. See you round. May the gods watch over your battles, friend.
Hello, friend.
Right. So,
Captain Gallen does the business around here. I'm just a ship's mate. If you're looking for passage, talk to Captain Gallen.
I can take you to any port on the coast.
If you're looking for passage to Solstheim, too bad. I'm not going back there anymore. Sure. Yeah, that's me. Why? Who sent you? Now, hold on. That wasn't my fault. I didn't know they were going to attack anybody. I don't even know how I got here. It's hard to explain. I remember those people with the masks coming on board. Then, the next thing I remember, I was here, and they were gone. And that's not right, losing whole days like that. There's been something strange going on there for a while. But after this, I'm done. I'm not going back to Solstheim. Have you been listening to me? I'm not going back there. All right, you have a point. Taking you back to find out who sent them is the least I can do. Besides, maybe you can put a stop to whatever's going on over there. I owe them a bit of payback myself. Well, here we are. This is Raven Rock. Can't say I'm all that glad to see it again. Good luck. Maybe you can figure out what's going on around here.
I don't recognize you. So I'll assume this is your first visit to Raven Rock, Outlander. State your intentions. Mirak, I'm not sure that I do. Just remember, Raven Rock is sovereign territory of House Redoran. This is Morrowind, not Skyrim. While you're here, you will be expected to abide by our laws. Any questions? I'm unsure. I swear I know the name, but I cannot place it. I don't think so. I'm not... The name has something to do with the Earthstone, I think, but I'm not sure what. I have to be. As second counselor, the security of Raven Rock is my primary concern. This isn't exactly the city of Blacklight. We're on the frontier out here. We've had more than a fair share of troubles. After all we've been through together, I refuse to let Councillor Morvain down. Councillor Morvain, House Redoran's representative on Solstheim. As second councillor, it's my job to support him and make certain his rule is enforced. Raven Rock started out as an imperial settlement. The Empire decided to abandon it, just as my people were first setting foot here. They left the town in a shambles. When House Redoran took over, we turned it around and it became ours. And even if it's been a struggle to make this island livable, we're proud to call it home. Your ignorance of our homeland doesn't surprise me. It's the capital of Morrowind. Been that way ever since Mournhold was sacked by the Argonians. I don't visit there often anymore, but we still get the occasional supply ship and visitors from there. Quite a while ago, yes. They cut a bloody swath across most of the southern region of Morrowind. Nobody seems certain why it happened. Attempted expansion, revenge for the enslavement of their people, or perhaps both. Whatever the case may be, thousands of Dunmen needlessly lost their lives. And many more were exiled from their homeland. Golan, I was starting to wonder what happened to you.
We were delayed by bad weather. I've been sailing the Northern Maiden across the Sea of Ghosts. for nearly 20 years now. Might be time to find a new home port, though. The way things are going around here.
Stay sharp. Talk to Captain Galland if you're looking for good passage. Captain Bjarland does the business around here. Runs the ship's mate.
Before you even ask, yes, I have the supplies you requested. But...
Lots of what?
this load cost me double what we'd agreed on. Nothing I can do about it.
Damn it!
And you know we don't have that much cotton.
Look, the East Empire Company didn't give me a choice. They've raised their prices again. And there's nothing I can do about it.
After all these years, they're gouging us for every last drink we have. Let me talk to Laryl. I'll see what we can do.
All right, Admiral. Don't worry about rushing it. Just pay me when you can.
Glover Mallory is a wonder with a hammer and anvil. He mended my armor like an old pro. If you witness suspicious activity, report it to Captain Velith immediately. I can't believe I've been stuck here this long.
If you need a ride back to the mainland, Gallon's the only way off this rock. I wasn't sure I'd make it off this farm alive. I wish I could have said the same for my man here. Some of the Redoran Guard have taken to calling them Ashspawn. Me, I don't care what they're called. All I know is they're a danger to Raven Rock and they need to be stopped. I was going to search for clues that might lead me to wherever they're coming from. I know it isn't the best place to start, but we know they've been coming from this direction. Good. I can use all the help I can get. Besides, I don't feel comfortable leaving Raven Rock behind, and I'd hate to lose any more Redoran Guard. We were searching the farm when the Ashspawn ambushed us.
Have a look around and see if you can turn up anything useful. No one knows, really. Superstitious folks say they're the risen forms of those that died long ago, but I'm not so certain. They started attacking the bulwark a few weeks ago. My men were able to kill them, but they keep coming back. We've had 2 other assaults on the bulwark, at different spots on the wall. I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost like they're becoming more organized and probing it for weaknesses. Exactly. Something has to be directing them against us, and we need to find out who or what it is. I might know someone, or maybe not. I can't remember. I can't. I just can't be sure. I think maybe he had something to do with a temple. A temple here on the island. Does that help? I don't. All I know is that the Ash Spawn are coming from this direction, so this is as good a place to start as anywhere else. Good thing the farm's been abandoned for a long time. I'd hate to see what they would do to an unarmed farmer and his family. Not sure. I was told it was an old Imperial farm that was wiped out by the eruption of the Red Mountain. Not certain who lived there. It was already a pile of rubble when I arrived in Raven Rock. Report back to me. Did you discover anything unusual? Have you found something? This is strange. The note says it's from General Folks Carius, but that's impossible. Well, Carius was the Imperial garrison commander at Fort Frostmoth, but he died over 200 years ago when the Red Mountain leveled the place. There's no way he could still be alive. If General Carius is still alive, there must be something keeping him that way. I need you to head out to Fort Frostmoth and check it out. I'm going to head back to Raven Rock and prepare the men for further assaults. Be careful. This General Carius sounds out of his mind.
Just leave me be.
With me? What's the matter with you?
Sorry, I've just had a lot of pork-faced cowards coming by to mock my efforts.
It probably can't hurt to tell you. You look mostly honest.
The name's Rollis. Rallis Sedaris, out of Moorhold. I've got a financier waiting for me back on the mainland. Sent me here in the interests of obtaining some rare antiquities, the relics of Azador. But this whole thing became a disaster right quick, let me tell you. You come out of the northern ashlands, you don't expect things to go easy, you know. But this was something outside my particular expertise. When I first got to Kolbjorn, you couldn't even see it. Buried in the ash, like most other things on this blasted island.
Doesn't look like it.
Dug out a pile of the stuff taller than me just to find the barrow. Who knows how much to reach the door? Excavating isn't exactly my specialty. Even if it was, the ash storms fill it in faster than you can dig. You think I've got that kind of money? No. I only get paid on delivery. Can't afford to go out of pocket for 1,000 septims on this. Takes money to make money, all that rot. There's a lot of it at the other end. But I can't get there without a little kick to start it off. You ever hear of Azador? He was the first great Nord enchanter, maybe even the first human to master elven methods. His best work was buried with him, though. A set that my patron calls the relics are supposed to be down in his tomb. Now, they're old, and they're powerful. A combination like that makes them pretty valuable to certain people, and I happen to know certain people. What, are you serious? Well, I think I could make that work. We can sort out the details of our little arrangement later. But for now, I'll manage the dig if you can manage the coin. Do you have the gold? It's all here. Well then, looks like I have a good bit of work to start on. I'll head back to Raven Rock and round up some diggers. Once we've got something worth looking at, I'll send word to you. Pleasure doing business with you, partner. I'll see you soon.
stand aside. Out. Here in his shrine.
That they have forgotten.
Here do we talk that we might remember. By night we recline. What by day was stolen. Far from ourselves. Now through him do we see. Now through them does he speak. And when the world shall see. And when the world remembers. Here in my shrine. That you have forgotten. That you might remember. What faithless minds have stolen. Now through him do we see. Our hands once were idle.
Now through them does he speak. And when the world shall listen. And when the world shall see.
That world will cease to be.
Ran away. Hey, I guess.
Captain Gyalan does the business around here. I'm just the ship's mate.
for the moment.
Something troubling you? I'd think you'd welcome a little peace and quiet.
Apologies, Adril. In my experience, it's usually the quietest before the storm.
My husband Bendel feared visitors would shun Raven Rock. I'm glad to see he was mistaken. Mirag. I'm sure I've heard that name before. Haven't I? Was it in a dream? Keep playing your part.
Miserable. Don't like it. I hate it. Every day it's the same thing. We open the shop, we hardly sell a thing, we close the shop and go to sleep. What kind of a life is that? Ah, believe me, I'd be on the first ship off this miserable island if I could. But I'm not sure I could do that to my father. I think it would break his heart. We've already lost my mother. I don't want to leave him alone. We lived in a settlement, perhaps a league from the border of Black Marsh, the homeland of the Argonians. Even though the Argonian invasion ended a long time ago, there are still a few scale-skinned clans that live within our borders. To put it simply, they attacked our settlement and slaughtered almost everyone. It was horrible. I think so, but I'm not sure where I heard the name. I don't know why, but I'm thinking about a temple here on the island. Maybe it was just a bad dream.
Want to buy anything, or just laugh at our misfortunes? Mining gear? No. However, I used to sell East Empire pendants until I ran out of them. Popular little item. It's an amulet that was made exclusively for the East Empire Company. They gave them to their workers as an incentive at one point, a kind of reward for extra effort. They're no longer being made, so they've become a collectible. I'd love to get my hands on a few of them. They could be anywhere on the island. The mines might be a good place to start. If you find any while you're exploring Solstheim, bring them here, and I'll pay you for them. The question you should be asking is, what don't I sell here? If it's not a weapon, potion, or armor, then it's likely that I have it. Jarland, over at the docks, brings me most of my supplies, and the rest comes from bartering with the people in town. Oh, Glover Mallory gets me a few things once in a while. He usually has the most amazing deals that I can't pass up. Bad? What if I told you that you're the first person that's even considered looking at my wares today? I've half a mind to contact my friends at the East Empire Company and see if they need an extra hand in Windhelm. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've corresponded with Vittoria Vici herself more than once. You know, the lady who runs the East Empire Company warehouse in Solitude. The biggest warehouse they have in Skyrim. Bah, you're just like the rest of the folks around here. Mark my words. The East Empire Company will return to Raven Rock, and when they do, I'll be at the top of their list. See for yourself. I think I maybe had a dream about someone with that name. It was very strange. Was I building something? A shrine down on the beach near the Earthstone? I'm not sure.
The East Empire pendants are scattered all over, so leave no stone unturned.
Come on, you know me, Captain Veleth. My hands are clean.
See that they stay that way, or else I'll send you back to Skyrim in a crate. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
Captain Bellet, sir.
I work for Mogul.
You got a problem, you talk to him. Mogul doesn't lend coin to outlanders. Look somewhere
I'll give you
else.
this warning only once. Stay out of my way, and we'll do just fine. No, wait. I don't know. I feel strange just thinking about it.
You looking for trouble? Stay out of my way.
Here on the island?
This island's nothing but a pile of rubble.
next time.
What's the point trying
You
to
haven't
make a
seen
life
Precious
here?
Corellius, have you? That foolish old man's taken my pickaxe again. No, this isn't just your run-of-the-mill pickaxe. I'm talking about an ancient Nordic pickaxe. They don't exactly grow on trees, you know. I prefer to handle these things on my own. Look, if you see Precious, tell him to give me that pickaxe back, and I'll pay you for the trouble. No, wait. Maybe. I'm not sure. A fine question, and the one that I hear most often from visitors to our town. I wish I had a more romantic tale to tell, but I was simply seeking my fortune and chose Raven Rock to ply my trade. Besides, knowing how to repair bone mold armor wasn't very useful in Riften. I had a friend over there, a dark elf named Van Wright, a very talented armorsmith. Spent a lot of time with the guy swapping smithing techniques. Learned a heck of a lot, including how to repair bone mold. After he moved on to greener pastures, I decided to pack up, move out here, and put those lessons to the test. Been here ever since. It's the only tool tough enough to crack Stalrim, is what it is. Not many of those beauties left in the world. Forging them is a lost art. The one Precious borrowed came from the Skull village up north. I, traded them some goods for it. Calling Stalrim an ore is like calling my forge a campfire. Some folks say it's enchanted ice, but I think there's more to it than that. I don't think I've come across more than a chunk or two in my lifetime, and smithing's my trade. If you're looking to learn more, you should head over to the Skull village. Someone there's bound to know more about it than I do. Well, it's been a long time since someone from the guilds bothered to make their way out here. So tell me, how's my brother Delvin? Still spending his nights at the Ragged Flagon trying to win Vex's heart? Good to hear. Damn layabout never even bothers to send his own flesh and blood a letter saying how he's doing. Can you imagine? Anyway, I suppose you're looking for work. Well, I got bad news. This place is drier than a damn bone. Eager to make some coin, eh? I'll tell you what. The guild's got a problem out here that I've been trying to deal with for years, but haven't been able to handle. Don't look at me like that. I'm all alone out here, with no one to watch my back. And besides, it's really my problem anyway. I caused it. A fellow Breton who went by the name Esmond Tyne showed up on my doorstep about a fortnight ago. He noticed the shadow marks like you did, and I thought he was one of us. That he did, right out from under my nose. Can you believe it? It's my own formula for improved bone mold. Took me years to perfect. Well, before he ran off, he was talking some nonsense about trying to fence goods to the Reeklings at Castle Karstag. I told him he was crazy to even think about talking to those vicious little buggers, but he wouldn't listen. I'd bet a fat purse of coin that he's either dead or hiding out up there. You do that, and I'll make sure you're set up right. You won't be disappointed. You tell Precious he better give that pickaxe back to me, or else.
Mogul, your visit here would be tolerated as long as you abide by our plans. Otherwise, you'll answer to the Reverend.
Damn it, woman. I said to leave me be.
Precious, last time you explored the mine, you almost fell to your death. I'm not spending the rest of my days as a widow.
And I'm telling you that I'll do whatever it takes to find my great-grandfather's remains. He's down here. I can feel it.
That was almost 2 centuries ago. There may be nothing left to find.
Just let me go, woman.
Precious, you're an obstinate old fool and you're going to get yourself killed.
My apologies for Cretious's ravings. I think so, but from where? It's difficult. Something... That foolish old man thinks he's 30 years younger than he is. He's going to get himself killed. He's convinced himself that there's some sort of conspiracy involving the East Empire Company and the mine's closure.
He came across some old letters that belonged to his great-grandfather in our house, and he believes every word written in them. Cretious's great-grandfather worked for the East Empire Company. The letters mention some sort of discovery he was sent to investigate. There's really nothing remarkable in the letters. I don't know what he's so excited about. Gratian Corellius. He was an explorer for the East Empire Company. They'd sent him all over Tamriel when they had difficulties in a mining operation. Poor man. Can you imagine doing all that dangerous work just to end up dying at your own doorstep? There was a horrible accident, and he was killed when one of the tunnels collapsed. They were never even able to go down there and recover the body. The East Empire Company sealed that section off to prevent any more tragedies. Cretius is convinced it's a story cooked up by the company to cover up something else, but I don't know. My beloved is almost 80 years old, and I think the shock of finding one of his ancestors' things has left his mind a bit confused. I love him dearly, and I support everything he does. But I can't let him chase this silly idea, or he may end up joining Gratian in a rocky grave. To understand how we met one another, you have to appreciate what he's going through. Cretius is a third-generation miner. All his life, he's lived and breathed nothing else. By the time Cretius came of age, the ebony mine in Raven Rock was shut down. He took that quite hard. Our home has been in his family for over 200 years. Leaving would have been like abandoning precious memories. Instead, he stayed on Solstheim and spent most of his life prospecting for a new ebony source. Sadly, it never surfaced. A decade ago, this drove him into a deep depression. He shut himself inside his home and refused to come out. It was after refusing to allow anyone to bring him food, Councillor Morvain ordered his door to be knocked down before Cretius starved to death. I was a temple priest at the time, and they had me use my healing arts to restore strength to his ailing body. I stayed for a while and cared for him, then I suppose we fell in love. Far from it. In fact, I'm no longer welcome there. In all honesty, it came down to a disagreement between what I believe and what Elder Othraloth believes. I'd prefer not to get into the details, but let's just say our opinions about the current status of the Tribunal vary widely. I'll gladly share my knowledge with you. Be careful out there.
Who in the blazes are you? Can't you see I'm busy? Why should I tell you? I don't even know who you are. Maybe.
been difficult trusting people lately. They think I'm crazy. But mark my words, these mines hold a secret that could put Raven Rock back on the map. A secret the East Empire Company swept under the rug 2 centuries ago. It killed my great-grandfather and left Raven Rock with a worthless and tainted mine. Gratian Kyrelius. He spent his entire life exploring ancient ruins across Tamriel, and he died in these very mines almost 200 years ago. The East Empire Company called it a terrible accident, claiming that he was lost in a rockfall, but I know better. My wife and I were cleaning out our home, and we came across some of my great-grandfather's things locked in an old chest. I found an unsent letter he'd written to the East Empire Company, and a key. It describes a discovery that was made in the mine by some of the diggers. They wanted Gratian to take a closer look. The East Empire Company must have felt it was of great value, as they locked that section of the mine off from everyone else. It is. Well, I assume it is. I haven't been able to find the entrance. Now you're starting to sound... I'm telling you, there's something big down there. Look, my wife nags that I'm too old to go Time's my enemy. It's caught up with me before I do. I want to know what happened to Gratian, and what the East Empire Company's keeping from all of us. Gratian kept a journal of notes about his discoveries. If you can find his remains, I'm hoping it will help. Here's everything I have. The letter, the key. Please, do this for me, so I can finally regain the respect that I've lost. Look, I know I don't have much to go on. But I also have a miner's instinct that's run in my family. I may sound like a crazy old man to you, but I'm telling you, the tunnels here are solid. They would never collapse like that. She thinks that old age has addled my mind. I realize she cares about me, but she has to understand that I can't rest until I find out what happened to Gratian. Then I'll settle down peacefully and never set foot in this mine again. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, even before I discovered Gratian's old things. I just hope both of you don't mistake my enthusiasm for insanity. I recognize the name, but it's so strange. I feel like it's from a dream. Something about the Earthstone and a shrine. That's it. That's all I can think of.
that's light armor. It's like the clay deposits. so. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Wow. Okay. Dragon Wall. is going on? Oh my.
Yes, I do. When I gave you Beyogma Infinium, your free will is an illusion. This is Apocrypha, where all knowledge is ordered. If you're tired of this, read your book again to return to your mortal life. For a time, the learner of Apocrypha will go back. It is your
she called me bold.
Damn wizards. Not good enough for your precious Coral J. Is someone there?
Time to die!
I'll cut you out. Give it your best! Over here. No. Shogorath matters. Take you. Those boots will look mighty fine on me.
the wrong way completely. This means that's tower. I go to this tower. There we go. Go back. Go down. miles away.
Never should have come here.
A fight!
By the blood of Believer, fight.
Please, someone do something.
This.
I'm getting out of here.
Where is the fighter? Where is the fighter? Who are doing the fight? Who's doing the fighting? There's no red dogs. Oh, it's not that bad.
I work for Mogul. You've got a problem, you talk to him.
I trust you're not planning any trouble. What can I do for you, friend? You're back. Please, tell me what you found. Let me see that. Huh, I knew it. Gratian's death wasn't because of a rock fall. It was just a story to keep people away from the tombs. Now that I have his journal in hand, I can get some closure from the East Empire Company. Make them pay for lying to everyone. Thank you. Now, I believe I owe you a little more than a debt of gratitude for all that work you did. Here, it's not much, but it's the best an old retired miner can do. The damn fool doesn't even deserve to have it. The pickaxe was made for mining, not selling. I'll bet he stole it from the Skald in the first place. Oh, very well. Here, tell him I hope he drops the thing on his foot. Those cowards left decades ago. Every single damn one of them. The moment the ebony mine dried up, they pulled up stakes. Ridiculous. Well, you know it as well as I do. Raven Rock Mine wasn't empty at all. It's still rich in ebony ore. I come from 3 generations of miners, and I couldn't get anyone to believe me. Well, we showed them, didn't we? Our home has stood in Raven Rock since the colony was founded. Grayson helped build it with his own 2 hands. After Grayson died, he left behind a wife and a son. My grandfather. Relicus. Relicus lived there for quite a long time, working in the other sections of the mine until he was slain by reavers. I never knew my father. My mother and I always lived alone. I asked her about him many times, but she seemed angry and refused to speak about him. So eventually, I let it go. When I was old enough, I began working in the mine, hoping to make my fortune and eventually move to the Imperial City. Mark my words, there was a time when after great Relicus lived there for quite a long when I was old enough, I began. Unfortunately, yes. I only had enough coins saved to send one of us back to the Imperial City. So I sent my mother alone. I wanted her to see her homeland before she died. Until I met my darling Aphia, yes. I suppose you could have called me a bitter old hermit. Now I'm just old.
Right. I intend to return and do more later.
Move along.
Find my pickaxe. So, you finally tracked down old Crucius, eh? Quite a character, isn't he? Tell you what, since you went through all the trouble of finding it for me and all, you keep it.
What's the point?
I just wanted to remind that Kaji you can't just go around taking things from other people. Now that you've delivered the message, I'm satisfied. Besides, that pickaxe hasn't done me any good in years. Maybe you can put it to good use. Bring your weapons and armor to me. I'll fix it up right. Clever Mallory's the name. The finest weapons and armor. Bring your weapons and armor to me. I'll fix it up right.
My apologies for doubting you, Salia.
You honor the...
Right.